Good evening, class. It's Randy coming to you for I think this is our last video. Um, and we are supposed to be picking two questions. And I picked what is the current mental health status of Americans? And the quote from Rosalind Carter, which read, I always said that mental health got what was left over after everybody else in health field got what they wanted, and basically expound on what that means. Um, the citations come from the Lundy text, and I got another one from the National Alliance on Mental Illness 2019, that is also known as NAMI. So anyway, let's get into it. So I'll answer the second question first. I always said the mental health got what was left over after everybody else in health field got what they wanted. Heck, actually, I'll answer them together. What that means to me is mental health is it's a hodgepodge. Nobody really wants to deal with it. People don't know how to deal with it. And you know, now I'm an ER nurse and a psych nurse, and I see how every time I go somewhere and people find out I'm a psych nurse, they're like, "Oh, like poor thing, like bless you, you just." it's a very strange response that I get when they find out I'm a psych nurse. Or some people say that actually explains a lot. So it just depends on how well you actually know me and how and what frame you meet me in. But anyway, so mental health. No one wants to really do anything with mental health. Um, it's almost like you can get it on your hand or something. It's like, ooh, I got it on my hand and I don't want to take it home and get it on anybody else. But it's very misunderstood. And I think that because people don't really want to take the time, because mental health is not a, you're not going to necessarily flick a pill at it. You actually have to talk to people. Um, you have to listen to stuff. You listen to point of views that you might not agree with. You actually hear perspectives that are a lot off. And then you have some people that are just full of crap, and they don't want to take responsibility for stuff, and they say, hey, well, there's this thing over here, and maybe if I play crazy, or if I do this enough, I can get out of stuff. So it's a very abused field, and it's abused by the media too, because as soon as something happens, it's, oh, he was mentally ill. Well, could be, and some of us actually happen to believe in something called heaven and hell, and um, to me, you can't have one without the other. So we attribute a lot of things to the good and heavenly and everything else, but there are some people out there that are just kind of crappy people, and they do crappy stuff. And to make us all feel better, we have to come up with a diagnosis. It's literally, some diagnoses are just for people to feel better. It's not really, people feel better when there's a label to go on it, and they can call it something and label it. But that's not how it works. We don't know how the all the ways the brain works, or what happens when it stops working, or there are pathways that get crossed, or whatever the case may be. And you know unlike heart disease, or you can touch heart disease, and you can, okay, well, this looks like this, and there's a look to it. There's a surgery you can do. You can change a diet. You can do whatever you like, and problem solved. Diabetes, You can manage your weight. You can have surgeries. You can do a whole lot of things and maybe not have diabetes. Mental health is not that cut and dry. And again, a lot of mental health has to do with sitting and actually talking to people and trying to weed through, okay, we have some cause, we have some effect, we have perfect storms of tragedies and whatever that makes people have their issues. According to the NAMI report that I looked at, gonna just give you some quick statistics from that, and it says 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year. 1 in 25 U.S. adults experience serious mental illness each year. 1 in 6 U.S. youth aged 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year. And suicide is the second leading cause of death among people from 10 to 34. So, a cultural breakdown they have is non-Hispanic are 14.7, 20% or non-Hispanic whites, whatever that is 20.4. Non-Hispanic Black or African American is 16.2. And then we have our rankings: major depressive disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's just kind of rampant and just running around unchecked out there. And some people don't want to deal with it. They don't want to sit with counselors. They don't want people in their business. I deal with not just black folks, white folks. A lot of people really, when they want help with something, they want help, but not really. And it turns into, well, I don't want people all in my business. Well, the very reason that you're here is because you need help with something, which means you're going to have to kind of tell me your business just so I can help figure out how to fix you, so to speak, or how to help you fix yourself. I can't do it blind. But and we're not the field that everybody clamors to necessarily want to go into, because you do have violent patients sometimes, but a large part of my job is not fighting. Now, if I have to engage, that's a bad day at work. But for the most part, I'm dealing with depressed people. I get schizophrenics sprinkled in every now and then. A lot of bipolars. Right now, we're getting a whole lot of personality disorders, which not my favorite of the demographic. But anyway, I digress. So the state of mental health is, I would say, there's an epidemic, but nobody really wants to deal with it because it takes thought, and it takes a lot of work to address some of these things, and it's not a overnight process. And for that reason, for the patients, they don't want to deal with it. Then the patients' families get into it and say, they should be able to just stop being crazy. Funny, but true. We don't tell heart people just stop having that heart attack. No, we don't, but we do it to psychs. Um, we do it to depressed people. Just go outside and get some sun. What's the problem? Um, just you have children and they're great, and you have a good job, and you should be more thankful and praise God, and you know feel better. Well, it doesn't work that way. It very rarely, if ever, works that way. And we need to actually take better steps to address it. And we need to take it just as seriously as we take uh, heart disease, diabetes, cancer. But until some major catastrophe happens, which several have, and we still don't do anything, they become talking points, and then where everybody cries it out, hugs it out, you know, puts a ribbon on something, and then everything goes back to normal. Then we're not nice to each other anymore, and then it's just a whole bunch of expletives and so on and so forth. So, can we fix it? I think so. Not everything, because again, back to the labels, I don't think everything can be fixed. I just think some things can get you as close to baseline as possible, and with some social skills and stuff, we might be able to make you a viable human being again. But it takes work and it takes patience. So that's my spiel on mental health and the current mental health status, and why Rosalind Carter said we get the leftovers, because it's true. Well, I hope you guys have a good evening. That's it from me. Thank you.